Virgo 16, an orangutan. The human is part angel and part beast. We try to balance these two aspects of our being. And it's not that we're halfway between. We're not. We're both in one body. And this makes for all of the conflict, all of the juice in life, all of the frisson that moves us along and gains a greater degree of consciousness. We cannot evolve unless there's some awareness going on of what's going on in our lives. And what is going on in our lives a lot is that we're trying to find a place to put our animal passions. Now, for all that we might aspire to angelic qualities like love and compassion and truth, justice and being nice to people and so on, it is also the case that there's this animal within us that has no interest in other people, is very selfish, has its own desires, its own passions to express and fulfill. And these come out as food lust and sexual lust and violence and extreme behaviour of that kind, bullying and so on. So this is what civilization tries to contain. And it does relatively well most of the time, but it's a really thin blue line that surrounds our animal behaviour and contains us within a way that society can feel a sense of peace and stillness and absence of conflict and safeness, security. You know, we don't want to walk downtown on a Friday, Saturday night and be confronted by young men with knives. But we are. That's what happens nowadays. And this is partly because the violent nature has not been dealt with properly. It is not appropriate. It is not possible to repress it or deny it. It just won't be depressed. It won't be repressed. It won't be denied. It's not that kind of energy. It's animal passion. It's nature's violent expression. Nature is violent. Human nature is violent. And that means that we do what we want to do at the expense of another sometimes, and we don't care about them. That's what violence really means. It's not necessarily cruelty, it's just carelessness or uncaringness. We don't care about somebody else's suffering because we have to get this out. That's the case. And for us to deny that truth is silly because it just bubbles up and expresses unconsciously. If we're not conscious of this energy, then it comes out unconsciously because it must come out. And it usually comes out in some inappropriate way. Violent sex or war or bullying and so on. Repression of the weak. So the mystery of Virgo 16 is basically saying, don't deny it, don't repress it. You are a wild animal as well as being a spiritual aspirant. And if you deny the wild animal, it will come and get you unconsciously. It'll do something to upset your ideas about yourself. And the way in which society tries to deal with this is to have vicarious behaviour. In other words, we put our sex and violence into the entertainment industry. So for some people, that's enough. They can get off on life by looking at somebody else do it. And they live their lives that way anyway. So the majority of people will be satisfied with seeing it on a screen. And that's why there's so much pornography. And that's why there's so many detective movies. We've made murder into an entertainment industry, the most popular there is. That's why that is. But there's a certain number of people for whom that just will not do. The most passionate amongst us, they have to get it out. They have to actually act out themselves. Excuse me. Now, sports go some distance towards this. Violent sports, dangerous sports, sports where you can actually fight someone and it's legal and it's socially acceptable and so on. That's one way to get it out. The bedroom in a relationship is another way to get it out. There's a lot of role play going on in sex, which is a thinly disguised enactment of our animal nature. And when it becomes a little bit more serious than those two things, sport and sex, we're starting to get into danger. The animal part of us is somewhat dangerous, and that's the fact. It's not wrong. This is the thing. It's the case that we're not safe. Nature has not been tamed, nor will it ever be tamed. There will always be hurricanes. There will always be predators. That's how it is. And we have to know that there's a part of us that can step up sometimes and deal with danger. And we find a part of ourselves which is absolutely uncommon in our normal life experience. But it sparks in the eyes. You know, there's a fight coming on and you're up to it. You want it. You like it. You're not embarrassed about that ability to face up to danger and fight against the elements or fight against another person who's after your stuff, or you. So we can't deny it. We shouldn't deny it. Don't deny it. Find a way to channel it for the most part. But know that there may well come a time when you want it, you need it, because we're living in a dangerous place.